Welcome to my free series of leadership and ritual facilitation videos. You can donate to help me offer more of these classes and write on these topics. There's more information in the video details below.
The question is online rituals. I've seen it done. I've tried to lead one once, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing something in context of gauging energy, gauging response. Have you done any of these before? Do you have any experiences to share?
Well, so I'll offer the really cheeky answer and then I'll offer the other answer. So the really cheeky answer is I don't think online ritual works. um, I, I don't think you need to worry too much about not doing a good job with it, because for most purposes of what ritual is, I don't buy into the whole online ritual thing. I really don't. That being said, what you and I are doing right now is a ritual. So there's that. And ritual doesn't always have to be the high smells and bells kinds of a thing. Ritual can be, it can just be a sharing and an interchange. We have set up the circle of the Zoom chat. And we've set up the container for this. We've set up an intention that we're going to talk about these specific ritual questions that you have, and we're going to talk through them. So in a sense, that is a ritual after a fashion. But I mean, I do ecstatic extemporaneous ritual. So online ritual really isn't, for the most part, isn't going to work. Now, here are some exceptions. I believe that it's possible to do kind of pieces of ritual, and one example of that would be, I'm starting to kind of like record trance journeys that people could listen to, on their own. And so, I mean, I think you could do a podcast or a webinar or a recording, or live, as the case may be. You could do something like that where you're leading a meditation on a particular theme. Certainly you could do that. You can do workshops online. This is a fantastic format for workshops online, where you can see each other and you can connect with each other. But again, I think it really depends on the intention of the ritual, and just acknowledging that you're not going to get the same kind of an impact that you would with an in-person ritual. And again, I mean, it's the same thing of facilitating a ritual for a pagan pride event in an open public park where there's people joining in, there's people standing around watching, is a very different energy from 50 people in a room who have all come together to do deeper intensive work. I'm not going to be able to take people as deep in the pagan pride ritual as I am in the closed door ritual. It's just not going to happen. So I think it also very much depends upon your intention with the ritual. So I don't want to say that it's totally impossible to do ritual online. I guess what I want to say is be really clear on what you're trying to do with it. And I don't want this to sound catty, because I really don't intend it that way. I have seen a lot of people ask about online ritual because they're afraid or too lazy to go out to in-person rituals. And I know that's not where you're coming from. You're talking about facilitating these, and I know you facilitate, in-person stuff. So that's not even an issue with what you're talking about. But I specifically have had people asking me about online ritual, and they're either too shy to go out to in-person things. And I get that, I do. And I don't want to minimize social anxiety, because I have also faced a lot of social anxiety in my life. I get it. But the thing is if you're doing an online ritual, you are not going to get out of it what you would with a group ritual, like it in person. It's a completely different experience. But and I do talk to folks who they aren't willing to put in the time and energy it takes to actually go out to a public ritual. They just want to be able to do it from their computer. And again, that's something where that's great. You can probably get something out of it if you really want to. But, you know, if you're looking to attend that online ritual and get out of it what you would from an, you know, an in-person ritual, a group ritual, you're not going to get the same thing. So expecting that is, I think it's the expectations piece where you can't expect to facilitate or attend an online ritual and have it do the same things. Now, I mean, if you're talking about group magic work, like I know of people that do online rituals where they send out an email like, we're all going to activate this crystal grid at this particular time or tune into this energy at this time. I can't really speak to that because that doesn't really fit in my theology and my the way I work with magic and with energy and ritual. I'm way more pragmatic than that, so I can't really speak to that. I'm not going to say there is no benefit to it because I think there probably is benefit to it, but I don't really work with stuff like that, so I can't completely speak to that. So that's what I got for online ritual. I'm not really sure that I answered your question, but I would say, you know, always go back to intention and what you actually want to achieve with it and be realistic for your medium.
Yeah, that does actually answer my question because I think, well, I've often told people that these are the type of things that you don't learn at wizarding school. You know, this is stuff that you don't learn at Hogwarts, just saying, because it's in the field, you know, practicum work that you don't get from a book or, you know, formal classes and things like that. So, you know, it was do an online ritual. Okay, how does that work?
Out of curiosity, what was the I guess the technology used to do it? Was like a Facebook chat? Was it like video like this?
It was just a regular, like a tiny chat.
Mhm.
Just it was just all in text, and I think that was where I had a different expectation because I wasn't sure what my expectation was. I had nothing to compare it to. So in the future, if I ever do another online ritual, it would be something like this where I could actually see people and actually gauge their reaction, at least see their faces so that I could get some sort of small connection with them versus just text on a screen. Some people can do text on a screen and more power to them. However, I'm a little more visual. I like to see people sometimes.
Yeah, and that's well, we could go into learning modalities, and I think that actually is maybe of use with a different question or at a different time because that's a whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why I'm using the Zoom technology for these webinars because it's interactive, it's connecting. You know, you can see each other's body language, and the thing is like some people do respond well to text, and and it's also an approach to ritual because I don't do scripted. You know, I don't do scripted ritual at all, and one of my pet peeves as a ritualist is people who they lead workshops, you know, writing a ritual. I don't write my rituals. My rituals are not meant to be written. They're meant to be experienced. And yes, I write an outline for the ritual and there's a plan. The team has a plan, but that plan might change because it's ecstatic and extemporaneous. You know, and I've been to some I've been to rituals that were very intensely scripted and written by people with experience in theater, you know, playwrights, you know, people who have experience scripting things and performing them. And they're so focused on getting the words right that the ritual suffers. Um, there are very few groups that do it well. I have seen groups that do it well. Usually they have degrees in theater if they're able to pull that off, and not all of us have those. So, you know, that's one of the things with scripted ritual that I always caution people with is if you are so focused on remembering the exact words you're supposed to say, you know, you may have forgotten the intention of your piece. You may have forgotten the energy you're trying to evoke.
And we're back to the garden gnomes.
And we're back to the garden gnomes. Right. And I mean, and for some folks, like if you're the one writing the ritual, there is a magic to poetry and liturgy. I'm not going to say that there isn't. There is a magic to the correct use of language, to the right language for that piece. At the same time, if your poetics are all you're worried about with your ritual, there's so many other factors to ritual. It's not just about the script. It's not just about the words. And I think with ritual scripts, one of my issues is that people get so bound up in, I said the wrong words. The gods aren't gonna favor us because of this. It's like, I don't think that's how it works. And again, that goes into my theology. So I don't ever want to push my theology on anybody else. But yet I can't resonate with that because that's not what I believe. That's not how I think ritual works. So yeah, I mean, I think with a text-based ritual, it would have to all be about the language and the poetics and the people connecting to it in a text way. It wouldn't work for me. Singing works for me, dancing works for me, drumming works for me. The only way words on a screen work for me is if I'm the one writing them and I'm the one connecting to that poetic divine energy. And like when I'm writing my ritual outline and I start kind of coming up with things that this, deity might say to people, or, what the nugget of information is from the ritual. And I actually I bridge that connection to that deity or that archetype, and I'm kind of downloading what they're saying. Text works for me. Like I'll start weeping as I'm typing, when I find that connection. So, I mean, text-based things can help you connect in that way, but somebody else reading my words is less likely to have that impact on them, unless it's something like, I've written an essay and I'm talking about a very personal, vulnerable experience, which I frequently do, and it moves somebody. Text can move you, but I guess what I want to say is, like, text moving people emotionally and spiritually is definitely a skill set. And it's a different skill set from facilitation. So why don't we go into whatever, I actually just lost your email here. Why don't we, or the email where I have the all your questions, but go ahead and ask the next one, and I'll see if I can recover the email that you sent or that I sent. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're still muted.
If you have any questions about ritual facilitation or leadership for pagan groups, please feel free to contact me. I love questions, and I love writing articles or recording videos for actual issues that people are facing in the community. If this webinar is useful for you, please consider donating. It is my goal to make this education available for all, but to do that I have to pay the bills. I also have several books available, and there are links below under Show More, or you can contact me via my website or social media.